concrete saw. OKJ has spent my morning with subcontractors coming in and out of the house. They're out here right now loading up stuff. That's why Opie's over here raising hell. And I've got a whole kitchen, living room, hallway, bathroom with an inch of freaking concrete dust all over it. You know, no pain, no gain. No pain, no gain. We have put this bathroom remodel off for ages. Actually, the last time we've done any remodeling on this house was 12 years ago. So you're liable to hear Opie bark. You're liable to hear Carolina wrens up here in the corner of this porch who's built a nest, freaking out every time they see me. I've also got a lot of cleaning to do today that I really don't want to do. And I've got fans going out the front door, out into the garage. And a mess on my hand like there ain't no tomorrow. I put sheets up on the walls in the bathroom just to keep it off of my, the things I've got on the walls, whether they're pictures or trinkets or little shelves with rocks or whatever I've got on there. And I've got 100-year-old barnwood picture frames in there that if you get that dang concrete dust in it, good luck. I guess I'm going to have to try to use a dust buster or something. Donna says, you better call that deep clean lady when you are done. And Ed Bomb says, kitchen full of concrete dust sounds like a good excuse for Mr. Wayne to take you out to eat. That's a good idea, NF Mom. Sheetrock and concrete crap gets in the air and up your nose. Yeah, well, that's why I'm on the other end of the house right now. I'm going to pretend that I don't open my bedroom door to walk down that hallway. And it looks like freaking something out of a winter wonderland. You know what I'm saying? Canyon Jam says, I always say it's going to get a lot worse before it starts to look better. My forte is demolition. I love it, says Canyon Jam. Well, how are you spending your Friday morning, day, or evening, huh? You got stuff up to your dang chin there? With things, laundry, unload or load the dishwasher, sweeping, dusting, cooking, scrubby. Barnwood has been wet before. You can get it wet and it will dry perfectly. Our bathroom is all barnwood. Okay. Well, that makes me feel a little bit better. Well, happy birthday, Ryland's dad. Excuse me. Ryland Harris's dad. Yeah, Donna, why I thought, how they got these commercials where it says, bath fitters, they'll come in, they'll get it done in one day. Well, maybe that's so for some people. But you're talking about on that end of the house, you're talking about a full concrete slab, which is actually pretty good for a lot of reasons. But I knew he was gonna, and all he had to do, and he's not done. He took the concrete slab, and he put these lines down so deep in it. Wait till he comes back with the jackhammer. Wait till he comes back with the jackhammer and I get to hear all that. Hello, Melissa. NF Mom says festival's going on in town this weekend. Planning on going to the rodeo. Yeehaw, NF Mom. That sounds like a lot of fun. I know, JoJo. I'm trying to stay focused on the little ceramic leaves, glass leaves that are going to be all over the bottom of that walk-in shower. I'm looking forward to seeing it updated. I mean, y'all, I'm not getting any younger. And our other bathrooms have a handicap accessible walk-in showers, and this was the only one with one big bathtub in it. I don't want to step over in that, you know? So anyway, well, Beach Lady, Fancy Nancy, she put something in the comments here recently, so she's fine. Rachel Black says, I have been pulling the sheetrock ceiling out of my shed. The roof was repaired, but now I have to clean out the inside. Ooh, that don't sound like fun at all. You be careful. Wear a mask. Wear protective eyewear. You know, some construction glasses or something. You don't want to get any of that in your eyes. Jamie, I'm 54. I just turned 54 here last April. So I've got 3 adult sons. One's 26, one's 32, and one's 34. And no, I'm not a grandmother yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I hope one day the good Lord will grace me with a grandchild. But if I don't get one, it was just meant to be, I guess. Love Bug, you can get some advice. I don't know if you can get it from me. You might could get it from people in the chat. It depends on what you're asking. And my advice is not foolproof, and my advice usually sucks. Did you really, NF Mom? So we're the same age. How do I tell my girlfriend's parents that we're dating? Well, don't you think your girlfriend should have some say-so in some of that? I mean, they are her parents, right? Hello, Stephanie Willow. So anyway, I don't know what mods are on here today, but if somebody could please help out with the modding, I'd appreciate it. There was a time, y'all, that OKJ and all the Rays could come on here and we didn't have to worry about all this other jazz. So let's get caught up on some things. And I apologize that I wasn't with y'all Wednesday, but we were knee-deep in remodeling, and it was just a bunch of noise. There was no way to drown it out. I wasn't going to put y'all through that. That's why I released some shorts, just to give y'all a little hint that OKJ was losing my mind. Also, Beach Lady and others who are modding on here, if it's not talking about, I mean, if people that we don't recognize are coming on here asking questions that have nothing to do with this channel, please, and it's not being disrespectful to block them out or whatever, it's just we are here to get a little justice through understanding. Thank you, Beach Lady. I'm sorry. But other mods haven't showed up, and hey, you know, anyone who mods on here, they do it voluntarily, and I appreciate it with all my heart. But anyway, we're going to get caught up on some things, because guess what, y'all? Today, in just a couple of hours, and I will put it on the community wall, Donna Adelson's having a motion hearing. Her trial is going to be here middle of August. KJ's neglected this case. I did do a lot, if you want to go back to past live streams a while back, along with some videos of Ruth Markel's book or anything like that, we have really tried to get caught up on Donna Adelson. So we're going to go over a few things about her to get us caught up on that. But first, does the Rays remember KJ actually making a beef Wellington, huh? Oh yeah, that video's on this channel of me, old country girl, making a beef Wellington. I mean, my idea of, slap a steak on the grill or pan fry you some hamburgers or something like that. But here I am. I made a beef Wellington, and folks, it was freaking awesome. And I had a lot of people say I did a good job, and I'm so appreciative of that. But I'm sure some of y'all already know this, but I'm going to get others caught up. Aaron Patterson of Australia, the woman accused of killing 3 relatives with a meal of death cap mushrooms baked into a beef Wellington lunch, has been found guilty, y'all, of 3 counts of murder and the attempted murder of the lone survivor, who, by the way, had to get a liver transplant. But the thing about it is she went on the stand in her trial, and over there in Australia, they would not let media in, so all you had were these podcasts trying to explain what she said on the stand and all that stuff. Hello, Cindy Bullock. Anyway, hi, Jason. How are you, buddy? Is that Jason, Precious Jason? I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive. Maybe it's not. But anyway, so a 12-member jury reached the verdict around 6 days of deliberation following a 10-week trial in Morel, a tiny town about an hour's drive from the suburban dining room in Leongatha, Victoria, where the lethal lunch was served in July of 2023. Dozens of media crews raced to the court when it was announced the jury had reached a verdict in the case that has captivated audiences worldwide and spawned 4 podcasts dedicated to unpacking each day's evidence. So if you're interested, there are podcasts out there. You know how to do it. You know what to put in the search engine. You'll get to it. I'm sure it was quite riveting. During weeks of testimony, Patterson was accused of deliberately tainting the lunch with death cap mushrooms, highly toxic fungi that she picked after seeing their location posted on a public website. So that's another thing that was learned in this trial. In the days after her former parents-in-law, Don and Gail Patterson, died along with Gail's sister, Heather Wilkinson, Heather's husband and their local pastor survived after a weeks-long stay in the hospital, and he also had to have a liver transplant. Her defense lawyers had argued the deaths were a terrible accident that occurred when Patterson tried to improve the taste, y'all, of the meal, and that she repeatedly lied to police out of panic when she realized she may have added foraged mushrooms to the mix, which on the stand, she absolutely admitted to her lies, but she said she was just scared to death, y'all. Under Australian law, none of the jurors could be publicly identified, and they're prohibited from disclosing jury room deliberations even after the trial ends. So there's the distinction between Australian law and American law. They can't talk about it, y'all. They can't. It will never be known which pieces of evidence influenced each juror's decision, but all 12 were required to agree on the verdict. The agreed facts, y'all, were that Patterson asked 5 people to lunch on July 29th of 2023, including her estranged husband, Simon Patterson, who pulled out the day before. Within hours of the meal, the 4 lunch guests became ill with vomiting and diarrhea. They went to the hospital where they were placed in induced comas as doctors tried to save them. Gail and Heather died on August 4th from multi-organ failure, followed by Don on August 5th after he failed to respond to a liver transplant. Ian Wilkinson survived, and Ian Wilkinson also testified for the state there against Aaron there. Death cap mushrooms contain aminotoxins that prevent the production of proteins in liver cells, leading to cell death and possible liver failure from about 2 days after ingestion. During the trial, the prosecution argued that Patterson had the opportunity to pick the lethal mushrooms after seeing their location posted on the Citizen Science iNaturalist website, which is something when I originally started talking about Aaron Patterson, y'all, the evidence did come out. There was this website where people are like, we're posting this on this site to show you these is where death cap mushrooms are, so steer clear of it, right? The guilty verdict suggests the jury accepted the prosecution's argument that she likely traveled to 2 sites in April and May of 2023 and deliberately picked the mushrooms used in the meal. Prosecutor Nanette Rogers alleged that 4 calculated deceptions were at the heart of the case. Now, y'all remember in the last case, the sex, money, power there? Well, this prosecutor's talking about there are 4 things, 4 calculated deceptions. The first deception was the fabricated claim that she had cancer, and she used it as a pretense for the lunch meal, for the invitation. So in other words, Aaron Patterson told these people, hey, I want y'all to come to this meal. I got to find a way to talk to my children about it. She told them she had cancer. Now, does that sound familiar with anybody? Huh? Does anybody understand what that one was about? Put it in the comments if you remember. Who was it that said that they had breast cancer, huh? Does anybody want to remind OKJ? I'm not going to give you the answer. It's a case we've talked about. Hi, Roxy. Thank you, Roxy. Oh, I've been up all morning and everything. I'm just hanging out. Yes, Fix Tex, you know who I'm talking about. So anyway, I want people to think on this channel. It's easy for me to sit here and give all the answers, but I want people to think. So anyway, the second deception was the lethal dose of poison that the accused secreted in the home-cooked beef Wellingtons. The third deception was her attempts to make it seem that she also suffered death cap mushroom poisoning. And the fourth deception, the sustained cover-up she embarked upon to conceal the truth. The thing that done it for me, y'all, was, say, for sake of argument, she really didn't know she had picked these mushrooms and stuff. When they went to the hospital, she should have told them immediately. She lied to them and told them she didn't forage any mushrooms. But then, in those days at the hospital where the victims were laying dying in the hospital, she should have come forward with it. Of course, she says she didn't tell anybody that she foraged the mushrooms because she was so scared, right? Patterson admitted that on April 28th, the same day as cell phone signals put her in the vicinity of death cap mushrooms, she bought a dehydrator that she later dumped at a waste recycling center on August 2nd as her guests lay in the hospital. And they caught her on surveillance at the dump, dumping this dehydrator. And yet she tells law enforcement, I've never owned a dehydrator. And they knew something was up because when they did a search warrant on her house, they found the manual of a dehydrator. And then what does she say? Well, I keep those old manuals. I have them. That's what I've got. It had her the dehydrator had her fingerprints on it and contained remnants of death cap mushrooms. So there you go on that as well. The prosecution alleged that Patterson faked illness in the days after serving the lunch to try to cover her tracks by disposing of the dehydrator and factory resetting, y'all, her devices, her cell phone devices, and delete evidence. Patterson's defense lawyer, Colin Mandy, accused the prosecution of being selective with the evidence and pushing four ridiculous, convoluted propositions. The first was that Patterson would do this without any motive, Mandy said. He said there were several reasons why Patterson would not want to kill her guest. She had no money issues, she lived in a big house, and had almost full-time custody of her two young children who were very close to their grandparents. But in Australia, along with the United States, y'all, motive does not have to be proven. And that's brought out in this trial by the state there in Australia. We don't have to prove a motive. And guess what, y'all? Her motive was, they never said this is her motive, that we think. But the prosecutor accused Patterson of having two faces. One she showed the world that suggested she had a good relationship with the Pattersons, and a hidden face she showed only to her Facebook friends that suggested she wanted nothing to do with them. Some of the evidence that was put forth by the state there in Australia talked about Facebook messages in December of 2022. Patterson had expressed anger and frustration over Don and Gail's reluctance to get involved in their son's marriage breakdown. Her in-laws, right? She says, this is what she says, y'all. She says, I'm sick of this shit. I want nothing to do with them. I thought his parents would want him to do the right thing, but it seems they're concerned about not wanting to feel uncomfortable and not wanting to get involved in their son's personal matters or overriding that, so F them. Let me tell you something. I got 3 sons, and if they come to me for advice, I'll give it to them. But I sure as hell am not going to tell my sons how to run their life, and I'm sure as hell not going to get involved in their life. They're grown men. They can handle their shit. If they want advice, they can come to me anytime, and I'll lay it down. They know I'll speak the truth to them. And they rarely do come to me. But it's not usually about their personal relationships or anything like that. It's usually, questions about finances or something like that where they want to know, what they should do in terms of investment or saving or stuff like that. But I don't get involved with my son's stuff. And here she is. Aaron Patterson's mad at her in-laws for not, basically telling him you need to go back to Aaron. Because, see, they were split up. They were legally separated. Another message read, this family, I swear to effing God. During 8 days of testimony, including cross-examination, Patterson consistently pleaded her innocence, claiming she inadvertently added foraged mushrooms to the meal. In his directions to the jury, Justice Christopher Beale said that Patterson's admission that she told lies and disposed of evidence must not cause them to be prejudiced against her. Quote, this is a court of law, not a court of morals, unquote. The issue is not whether she is in some sense responsible for the tragic consequences of the lunch, but whether the prosecution has proved beyond a reasonable doubt that she is criminally responsible for those consequences. Now let's stop there. He's telling them, you've got evidence that she's lied. But you can't get, mad at her or prejudiced against her because she's a damn liar. Well, here in the United States, you can look at any impeachment of a witness, or if you know that someone's lying on the stand, you can just totally not even accept anything about their testimony, parts of it, all of it, whatever. But I'm going to tell you what, this woman, if she is caught on the stand lying, I think that's relevant. I think that, people can say all day long, oh, well, I read the jury instructions. And the jury instruction says that even though I know in my mind, through the evidence, factual evidence, that this person's lying on the stand, then I'm not supposed to be prejudiced against them. Does anyone really think that someone's just going to say, okay, that person's lied, I got factual proof they lied, and I'm just going to not look at it in any kind of, bad way or anything? We're talking about a discredited witness. Vixtex says, I'm still trying to figure out her motive. Well, Vixtex, I'll give you my theory of it. I don't per se think she tried to murder them all, but she's been convicted of it, okay? What I think, because they didn't bring into evidence, the year before that, she had made Simon sick. They originally had attempted murder charges added to all these other charges, and they dropped them before the trial. My opinion is, as she was so pissed off at Simon and his family, she thought she was going to make them really sick. Because she'd already tried this shit before, and Simon lived, but he went through living hell. He stayed in the hospital for nearly a month. So I don't think she thought in her head, I'm going to murder them. I think she wanted to get them really sick. I would have to look, but in Australian law, murder, I would assume, would be like they must have known that could happen. That if she gave them death cap mushrooms, that could happen. Well, maybe in her own mind, she thought she was going to make them really, really sick. And that's what she wanted. That's my opinion. I don't believe Aaron Patterson is some evil-ass, diabolical woman. I don't. I think she's got mental health issues. I think she's got problems. I think she's got emotional issues. She wanted to get back with Simon. He didn't want to get back with her. And all of that. It's hard to believe that people would come on this channel and talk about stuff that we're not talking about. You'd think I would be used to it by now, but these people, they really got some serious mental health issues. To all those that want to come on this channel and talk the way you're talking about stuff, attacking me or attacking people in the comments, you need to seek professional help. Do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. I'm not attacking you by saying you've got serious issues and you need to talk to somebody about it. You need maybe medication or something. All right, Apafem, if you don't mind, help out if you can, if you know how to. All right, Canyon Jam, you're burning daylight. Have a great day. So anyways, the jury found that Patterson had intended to kill all 4 lunch guests and lied repeatedly on the stand to claim she didn't. And Patterson will be sentenced at a later date. She's basically facing life in prison. Hello, Denise Gray. Beautiful ladies, we'll pray for those who are mentally lost. Hey, listen, folks. OKJ suffers from chronic depression, PTSD. I have mental health issues of my own. But I know enough to know that there are people out here that are untreated or doesn't want to face reality about getting treatment. And, it's on display when they write nasty stuff on the comments. Rachel Black says it's wild that these murderers think they will just explain their innocence and it will all work. So, from there, let me get something in me here. Here in the next couple of hours, and I'll post the link on the community wall. I'm going to try to go with the Tallahassee Democrat, which is a local news organization there in Tallahassee. I'm sure they're going to have the live stream available. Everyone is off the mushrooms in Victoria, Australia in general, says Isabella. Chris Wheeler says, I think she's guilty. Too much covering her tracks for it to be accidental. Great point, Chris. You know, if I had been in her, if that story that she told that she didn't know it was death cap mushrooms and blah, 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 and her explanation is I was scared after they got sick and all that, just come clean. That would look so much better. I mean, they did several days, 6 days of deliberation on this case, and they found her guilty. And we'll never know, really. Chris Wheeler says all mushrooms are edible, some only once, though. Good point. Roxy says, I never knew mushrooms could be as deadly. Yes, they're the most deadliest mushroom in the world. This woman, they even had in evidence, y'all. Picture, she had got part of this Facebook group that did foraging and stuff. And the defense tried to twist it like, see, she was foraging all the time and all this and that. But really, she just started when she saw, it wasn't long after that iNaturalist post on that website said, stay clear of this area. There's death cup mushrooms. They GPSed her stuff and everything else. And they had pictures of her actually putting on the Facebook page dehydrated mushrooms on her dehydrator. And an expert in mushrooms came in to testify for the state that says, yes, this picture, to me, in my expert opinion, is death cap mushrooms. So, I mean, the evidence was overwhelming. And had she told the truth from the beginning, other than I wanted to make them sick, if she'd have said, I didn't know, maybe it'd have been a different story. But she took steps to continue to lie, to cover her tracks, just as Chris is talking about. Aaron even wrote for a local newspaper years back about foraging for mushrooms. Well, there you go. Chris Wheeler said she used burner phones to look it up. Well, I don't know about that, but I do know that she deleted and factory resetted her phones. I didn't know she had burner phones. So, we're going to get ready to get back into the swing of things, y'all. Again, I apologize that we've had such a bad transition. Brian Kohlberger, right? We're still going to get with my theory. You know, they're coming out online right now that he was basically one of these women hater group guys and all that. I don't know that to be. I think this is a little more deeper than that. And we'll get to that. What's interesting and how it connects to the Donna Adelson case is a while back that the defense brought in a media expert who was trying to get a change of venue for Donna Adelson out of Tallahassee. And this was the same media expert who successfully got a change of venue for Brian Kohlberger. That Brian Kohlberger was this media expert's client in the past. But guess what, y'all? The judge denied the motion for the change of venue, yet he says that he is going to hold off on that because there are two prongs in Florida law that a judge has to look at in order to make a decision on whether there should be a change of venue. One is media exposure, and the other one is whether or not there is a way for the defense to prove that they can't find a good jury in Tallahassee. So the judge did deny the motion for change of venue for now. In other words, he's going to wait for jury selection and see how they're able to do that. Now, the state there in Florida said, hey, in this case, there were co-conspirators. You got Catherine McBanawal, Luis Rivera and Sigfredo Garcia, along with Donna Adelson's son, Charlie Adelson. And we were able to get a good jury that could follow instructions, who hadn't had media exposure. But 2 motions are filed in this, it was earlier this week, where they're going to talk about today. This includes one about raw phone data being shared with Donna Adelson's attorneys. A second motion posted Tuesday centers around Rivera's gang connections and whether it can be mentioned during the trial. So those are the issues that are going to be ironed out today. And I don't know if Donna is going to be there or not. I know she got moved out of Leon County Jail to another jail there in Tallahassee because the Leon County Jail stopped having those electronic tablets for their inmates, and she needed to be able to, get with her attorneys or whatever, so they moved her out of there. Give her special treatment. She's got all this damn money. She got all this money to get this media expert who successfully got Brian Koberger a change of venue, but it didn't work for her for now. Now they got 2 more motions. I'm assuming that the raw phone data is what the state has given. And does this have anything to do with something we're about to talk about? We'll find out, which would be juicy as all get out, y'all. But the judge said in his ruling that over the change of venue that there was a 2-pronged legal rule determining whether to grant change of venue. One is media coverage, the other whether it could be shown that they couldn't find unbiased jurors. Also, the witness lists have been released, but the media is not reporting. It's not like we can see the actual document, I don't think, because they're not reporting on much. They're saying court records filed nearly 2 weeks ago revealed that Donna Adelson's children, Charlie, Rob, and Wendy Adelson, could all take the stand as state witnesses during the murder trial next month. By the way, the media did report that there's about 60 witnesses from the state there against Donna Adelson. Also, 3 others who are also serving prison sentences in connection to Markel's death, and I've mentioned them already, was Catherine McBenawal, Sigfredo Garcia, and Luis Rivera, are also going to be on the state's witness list. Charlie Adelson is going to be brought down, I think, from South Dakota once again to, because he'd already been transferred when they finally said they had to put off the trial because Dan Rashbaum had also defended Charlie Adelson, and the judge Judge Everett, ruled that there was a conflict there and they had to start all over again. But, y'all, Donna Adelson's got bigger fish to fry, okay? And this is some other news that OKJ failed and neglected to keep up with, y'all. But a jailhouse informant is claiming Donna Adelson offered to pay for witness testimony in her upcoming murder trial. Those allegations only became public knowledge recently, but they're already been investigated by the FBI, local police in Tallahassee, and the prosecution. And y'all, no charges have been filed. But with that being said, does this motion hearing today about raw phone data have anything to do with that? Because the state doesn't have to charge Donna with an extra conspiracy to, something having to do with, lying or anything like that, some kind of injustice or anything, to get this entered into evidence. It says, according to the documents obtained by Court TV, Adelson's defense filed a motion on May 27, once again asking Judge Stephen Everett to recuse himself from the case because of all this stuff. They had been consistently trying to get Judge Everett off the case, and Judge Everett, the appeals court, said no, he's staying on the case. They've tried and tried and tried. Does this not hearken to Lori trying to get Judge Boreski off the case? But anyway, in April, the appellate court denied Adelson's two previous attempts to disqualify Judge Everett. They had alleged improper ex parte communications when he reviewed warrant applications for a wiretap, y'all, of Harvey Adelson's cell phone and phone records. This all ties in together, okay? The prosecution's warrant affidavit states that, quote, jailhouse informant alleged Mrs. Adelson was offering to pay for witness testimony. And does that not show a pattern of her behavior? The state is alleging she wanted to pay these people to off, Dan Markell and everything. Meanwhile, the defense is arguing that the jailhouse snitch has a lengthy criminal record, including numerous felony convictions and crimes involving dishonesty, which is fine and dandy. He can bring that out in defense of any evidence that the state wants to bring out. But listen to this, y'all. This is juicy. The prosecution's affidavit also cites overlapping communication records. Oh, that sounds so boring, doesn't it? Between Harvey, cell phones belonging to two members of Donna's defense team, and meetings held between Donna and her attorneys at the Leon County Detention Facility. In other words, Donna allegedly called Harvey using her lawyer's cell phones to avoid being recorded so they could make arrangements to tamper with a witness. Whoa. Donna's attorneys vehemently deny any suggestion that they utilized privileged visits to coordinate illegal acts. They wrote that the mere suggestion proposed by the application concerning Mrs. Adelson and her communications are not only reckless, but deeply offensive and undermines the integrity of the proceedings entirely. Y'all, the wiretaps, are they going to be talked about today? If they are included, showing a pattern of Donna trying to shell out that money, this is going to be one, it's going to blow the top off of everything, y'all. Assistant State Attorney Georgia Kappelman denies the defense's allegations. In May, Judge Everett ruled that the defense team could depose Donna and Harvey's estranged son, Robert Adelson, FBI agent Pat Sanford, and Tallahassee Police Department Sergeant Chris Corbett. All three witnesses have previously sat for depositions, but the judge made it clear that they're only to be questioned about this latest wiretap investigation, y'all. And we all know from past documents and pretrial that he's the only one of her children that says he could see her doing something like this. And he is on the witness list. Now, whether his opinion is going to be taken by this jury the way they are, oh my Lord. Alpha Fem X-Ling says Harvey better be careful before he's next. Think about it, y'all. These attorneys, could they have, maybe they didn't know she was trying to set up that. Maybe she's like, please let me use your phone. I got to call Harvey. And then between her and Harvey, if any of y'all been listening to Charlie Adelson, Donna, and Harvey's jail phone calls after Charlie Adelson was convicted, you will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the thing that they railed and bitched and whined about the most was, number one, having that trial in Tallahassee, which she's been trying to get a change of venue. Also, they talked on and on and on about Judge Everett and how he was not a neutral arbiter of justice. That's another thing she's been attacking. She's tried to get him off this case 3 separate times. And third, what was the other thing? She is trying to attack this case by saying that, first, she doesn't want the inflammatory stuff that she has said about, little backwoods, backwater Tallahassee. We're so much better than Tallahassee. Tallahassee's full of rednecks. Tallahassee's got all these uneducated people in it. All this stuff she was talking about with Charlie. Could the state, Georgia Kappelman, play some of these excerpts of her and Charlie Adelson's jail phone calls? Whoa. Can you believe it? They're going to absolutely play the ones where she's talking about, I'm getting things in order. I just would rather just go ahead and die. I've looked into Vietnam. There's no extradition here and there. They're going to play those, but will they play the other ones, the inflammatory stuff? Would it be too prejudicial? Would Judge Everett say, no, state. You can't play that where Donna and Charlie is going on and on about how these people in Tallahassee don't know their ass from a hole in the ground. You just wait and see. You just wait and see what happens. Hi, Denise Datillo. Yes, Mary and Cindy and all of y'all talking about the trolls. I want to personally apologize that I don't have something better set up here. Okay, Jade, this is a non-monetized channel. This is just an open channel. This channel is, I don't know what to tell you other than YouTube is letting people, I can't put it on private, y'all. That would be unfair to people that want to come on from time to time. So I'm going to be listening in to this situation with Donna's pre-trial hearing with the 2 motions today to try to get any clues that I can about how it's going to move forward in terms of whether or not, y'all, we're going to hear Donna Adelson on the wiretaps. Wow. They were even saying that she was using someone else's code. You get a code when you're in jail. She was using someone else's code in there to call. So we're going to find out what we're going to find out. We're going to see how devious Donna Adelson really is. Mary Sadler says, I've heard murmurings of Harvey being next. Alpha Fem Exing says, I'll never be convinced Wendy wasn't part of it also. I wish there was more evidence to prove she conspired. Well, you know what, Alpha Fem, I think that the domino effect, I don't think they would have ever been able to get a conviction on Charlie Adelson had they not gotten a conviction over the 3 other people there. And because they got a conviction out of Charlie, they were able to go forward with Donna. Now, does this mean from Donna, if they get a conviction with her, Harvey or Wendy? One can only surmise. Beach Lady sending people to Block Island, y'all. Yes, exactly. Methodically done, for sure. All right, so, and thank you, Captain Treasure, and thank all the Rays and others that have been on here for a long time. Y'all, I'm just doing the best I know how to do. I'm just old country girl, okay? You know how I am. So, I appreciate it, Captain Treasure. She is. Beach Lady's on it. She's on speed fire. So, that's a little bit of a look of Aaron Patterson. Also an update on Donna Adelson. I promise you this weekend I'm going to try my best. I can't promise 100% because I don't know who's coming in and out of the house this weekend over this bathroom. But I will do my best. I know for sure I'll be back on Monday. But I just want to know, just to close out a Friday, what are you going to do this weekend? Are you going to have a good weekend? Thank you, Ellen. Mary Sadler says, better than Epstein Island. Come on, share with OKJ what you're going to do this weekend. I'd like to hear it. I'm going to be here sweeping up dust, taking care of all this stuff. Thank you, Vix Tex. Justice through understanding. You know, if there was a perfect way to do it and I could do it, I would absolutely. But I can't do it all by myself. I have to have all y'all to help me. Alpha Fem X-Teen says, clean and paint my living room. Oh, yeah, that's next, Alpha Fem. Once we get the bathroom done, we're having a painter come in. I ain't got to do it. Rain ain't got to do it. They're going to come in and do all the interior doors in the house. There's 9 of them. So, I'm looking forward to that. I haven't had a fresh coat of paint on interior doors in 15 years, okay? Roxy says it's winter here, so I'm going to sit in front of the log burner and crochet. That sounds heavenly. That's very calming, isn't it? I don't crochet. I do a little sewing, but not much. But that sounds wonderful. Chris Arnett says, my husband and I go out to lunch Saturday and Sunday. It's our thing. That sounds great. Do y'all try different places, or do y'all go to the same one every Saturday and Sunday just to kind of have a tradition? Or do y'all try new things? I'm sure even if you tried new things, you'd run out of restaurants to go to. Mary Sadler says, I'm going to sweat. Ellen Larson says, I'm going to cook out. What are you going to have, Ellen? I love me some good smoked sausage, a couple of marinated ribeyes. But you know what I'm going to do, y'all? I've got this, the all juice that you get in with the prime rib roast, that I've been doing in the crock pot that I showed all y'all. Now, here's the secret, okay? It's going to make, you don't have to add water to the crock pot or nothing. It makes its own all juice, right? But here's the ticker. You got to take all the all juice and put it in a open container and sit it in the refrigerator overnight, and the fat comes to the top and it makes a hard as a rock thing, and you pull all that off or get the fat out of it, and then you'll have your all juice in there. And then how about this? You take a hamburger steak and you simmer it in the all juice, making Salisbury steak. What do you think of that, huh? That all juice has the garlic, the onion, it's the juices of the prime rib in it. Y'all, it's delicious. Captain Treasure says it's been storming and raining heavily here in Finland, so probably just going to sit inside unless it subsides. Well, there's a lot of things you can do inside. There are a lot of people on this channel that stay indoors a lot. They don't get out a whole lot. But there's always something to do. And you know and I know, Captain Treasure, this world inside of a world, social media and all these different things that you can find online. You can learn or you can be entertained. Chris Arnett says we have our usuals, but every once in a while we try something new in terms of restaurants, y'all. Roxy says sometimes you just need time to yourself. That's true, y'all. Very true. So anyway, leave your comments and be looking to the community wall. I'm going to try to post the link of the live stream of Donna Adelson's pretrial hearing or motion hearing today. If not, if I can't find it or you don't get on the community wall, search it out. Try to get caught up like OKJ's trying to do. I'm running faster than my feet will take me, y'all. Well, thank you, Captain Treasure. Hi, Denise. Yes, Roxy. I'm going to try to shoot shorts on the renovations. The only reason I didn't do a short on the concrete saw today is because it's so loud and it would just hurt your ears. So I'll continue moving forward to try to see, because people are interested. And Wayne, he's pretty much going to be doing most of this by himself. I hope it looks amazing, Roxy. We'll see. Alpha Fem is going to wrap it up by saying, love y'all. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all soon. Have a great weekend, Rays, and to others. I love you all, and keep on looking.